Welcome to the Restricted Handling Podcast. This is what's been going on in China in the past 24 hours. We're going to start in the Taiwan Strait again, but with a slightly different angle than last week's episode, so this doesn't feel like deja vu. The biggest update is that what looked like pressure before now looks a bit more like precedent setting. On January 17th, the PLA flew a WZ-7 Soaring Dragon surveillance drone through Taiwan's territorial airspace over Pratas Island. That's not an ADIZ edge case. That's sovereign airspace. Full stop. Taipei noticed immediately, condemned it publicly, raised local alert levels, and very intentionally did not intercept it. If you heard us talk previously about normalization, this is the next rung up the ladder. What's new here isn't just the flight, it's the location and the restraint. Pratas is remote, lightly defended, no civilians, and politically awkward to escalate over. That's not accidental. Taiwan updated its rules a few years ago to say that airspace intrusions by aircraft or drones could qualify as a first strike. Beijing just tested whether that doctrine has teeth. For now, the answer appears to be not yet. And this fits into a broader update on how China is shaping the environment rather than spiking it. We've talked before about Coast Guard patrols near Kinmen, up balloons drifting through Taiwanese airspace, drones buzzing outer islands. What's changed is the cumulative effect. 13 Chinese balloons have transited Taiwanese airspace just this month, none intercepted. Each one by itself is easy to dismiss. Together, they train everyone involved, military and civilian alike, to treat intrusion as background noise. At sea, the picture has sharpened too. Earlier this month, about 1,400 Chinese fishing vessels assembled into a coordinated formation in the East China Sea west of Japan. This followed a similar maneuver in late December with closer to 2,000 vessels. If yesterday's takeaway was China Maritime Militia exists, today's update is they're rehearsing coordination at scale. These weren't fish following seasons. They were hulls holding geometry. It's not about blockading anyone tomorrow. It's about showing how cluttered things could get if Beijing wanted them that way. Japan, notably, didn't make a big public show of it. That silence matters. It suggests concern without escalation, which is exactly the gray zone Beijing prefers to operate in. On the military training side, China released footage on January 17th that adds context to drills we've discussed before. The PLA openly labeled exercises as decapitation strikes, combining reconnaissance drones, precision munitions from J-16 fighters, and special operations night raids on leadership compounds. This comes on the heels of late December exercises that simulated long-range assaults and precision strikes toward Taiwan, including amphibious components. The update here isn't that China is thinking about leadership targeting. We've known that. It's the confidence with which they're showing it. No euphemisms, no ambiguity. Just broadcasting the concept and letting everyone draw the obvious conclusions. Taiwan, for its part, has responded quietly but concretely. Over the weekend, its military police command, responsible for protecting the president and senior leadership, added a new air defense battalion and announced plans to field Stinger manpads. That's not about jets, that's about helicopters. It's about closing off one very specific vulnerability. This is incremental defense, not dramatic mobilization, but it's clearly tied to what Beijing is practicing. Now, zooming inside China, because this is where yesterday's story really evolves. On Friday, Beijing announced investigations into General Zhang Yuxia and General Liu Zhenli, two of the most senior uniformed officers in the PLA. If yesterday's framing was a purge, today's update is just how deep that purge goes. Zhang wasn't just another general. He was Xi Jinping's closest military ally, a revolutionary family insider, and one of the few top officers with actual combat experience. The allegations now circulating go beyond corruption and patronage networks. They include claims of leaking sensitive nuclear weapons data to the United States. That's not routine internal discipline. That's regime-level paranoia. As of now, China's top military command is effectively hollowed out, with Xi and a disciplined chief as the only active members of the Central Military Commission. The short-term implication, without getting analytical, is that command continuity is under stress. Western defense assessments have already noted that corruption in China's military procurement system has led to real capability issues. The update here is scale. This isn't trimming branches, it's removing the trunk. Against that backdrop, the U.S. posture has become clearer, but also more complicated. On Thursday night, the Pentagon released a new national defense strategy that emphasizes strategic stability with China and de-escalation in the Indo-Pacific. Taiwan isn't named directly. The language focuses on denial along the first island chain and on reopening military-to-military communication channels. At the same time, and this is where today adds texture, U.S. warships transited the Taiwan Strait from January 16th to 17th, the first such transit of the year. The PLA monitored it, but didn't react loudly. Compared to past years, U.S. transits are fewer, while Allied transits are up. That division of labor is becoming more visible. Congress remains firmly engaged. Funding for Taiwan security cooperation continues to move, and new legislation aims to speed up arms sales. The persistent update, though, is delivery. Authorizations are strong. Backlogs are not shrinking fast. Economically, Taiwan and the U.S. announced a major semiconductor-linked trade deal last week. Today's nuance is political reaction inside Taiwan. The government insists the core of its chip industry, the Silicon Shield, will remain at home, while opposition parties argue the deal gives away leverage. At the same time, Taiwan's defense ministry has expanded plans to acquire up to 200,000 drones and 1,000 unmanned surface vessels. This isn't a conceptual shift. It's scale catching up to doctrine. Elsewhere in the region, China continues consolidating quietly. In Myanmar, the military concluded its choreographed election over the weekend. Chinese officials observed polling centers as the junta's party swept parliament in largely empty districts. If yesterday's theme was China filling vacuums, today's update is confirmation. With Western governments disengaging, Beijing is the only actor left with leverage, and it's using it without apology. North Korea also comes back into focus. Trade between China and North Korea has returned to pre-pandemic levels as of December. At the same time, Kim Jong-un conspicuously omitted Xi Jinping from his New Year's address. The update here is tone. Pyongyang is taking Beijing's money while signaling warmth toward Moscow. It's hedging, not choosing. Finally, a brief update on technology because this one keeps gaining momentum. Chinese open-source AI models are now being used by major U.S. companies for internal systems because they're cheaper and easier to customize. This isn't splashy, but it's sticky. While Washington debates guardrails and profitability, Beijing is exporting usable tools. Think less sci-fi takeover, more quiet infrastructure lock-in. Thanks for listening and being part of the RH community. Please take a moment to leave a 5-star review. If you want to see some changes, email us at info@restrictedhandling.com. We also publish a daily written intel brief on Substack, where you'll find even deeper coverage of Russia and China, along with insights on Iran, the Middle East, and the DPRK.